Hello everyone, I'm Eliza Nilwampo. In this video, I will discuss the first Mass in the Philippines, and I will tackle about the importance and significance events happening in the particular history in the Philippines. Father Pedro de Valderrama was a Spanish Jesuit missionary who lived during the 16th century. He was one of the first Jesuits to arrive in the Philippines in 1581 and was known for his effort in evangelizing the indigenous peoples of the Philippines, particularly in the island of Mindanao. Father Valderrama was born in Andalusia, Spain in 1540 and entered the Society of Jesus at a young age. He was trained in theology and philosophy and was sent to the Philippines as part of the Jesuit mission to evangelize the peoples of the archipelago. In Mindanao, Father Valderrama worked among the Cebuano people and was able to learn their language and culture. He established a mission in the region and worked to convert the indigenous peoples to Christianity. He was also known for his effort to protect the Cebuano people from abuses by Spanish conquistadors and other European colonizers. Father Valderrama was highly respected by Cebuano people and was known as a peacemaker and mediator. He was instrumental in establishing peaceful relations between the Cebuano and neighboring tribes, as well as between the Cebuano and the Spanish authorities. Father Valderrama died in Mindanao in 1610 and was buried in the church he established in the region. His legacy as a Jesuit missionary and peacemaker is remembered to this day in the Philippines, and he is considered a model for Christian evangelization that respects and promotes the dignity of indigenous cultures. The first Mass in the Philippines is a significant event in the Philippine history as it marks the beginning of Christianity in the country. The first Mass was held in March 31, 1521 in the island of Limasawa, in what is now the province of Southern Leyte. The Mass was celebrated by Father Pedro de Valderrama, a Spanish chaplain of the expedition led by Portuguese explorer Ferdinand Magellan. The event took place just a few days after Magellan and his crew landed on the island of Homonhon, and it was attended by the local chieftain Raha Colambu and its subjects. During the Mass, Father Valderrama offered a prayer of thanksgiving for the safe arrival of the expedition and preached the Christian gospel to the locals. The event is considered the birth of Christianity in the Philippines, and it paved the way for spread of the faith throughout the archipelago. However, it should be noted that the arrival of Christianity in the Philippines was not without controversy, as it was often accompanied by the imposition of Spanish colonial rule and the suppression of local cultures and beliefs. Nonetheless, the first Mass in the Philippines remains an important event in the country's history and is celebrated every year on March 31 as a national holiday known as Araw ng Kagitingan and Legazpi Day in honor of the Spanish conquistadors who led the first successful Spanish expedition to the Philippines in 1565. The first Mass in the Philippines took place in the context of exploration, colonization, and religious evangelization by the Spanish and Portuguese powers. The expedition led by the Portuguese explorer Ferdinand Magellan was part of the larger European project to find a new trade routes and expand their influence in the Asia. The expedition arrived in the Philippines as part of Magellan's quest to find a route to the Spice Islands, which are now part of Indonesia. At the time Magellan's arrival, the Philippines was a collection of autonomous kingdoms and city-states with their own language, cultures, and religions. The local were primarily animists and practiced various forms of ancestors worship and nature generation. The arrival of Spanish and Portuguese expeditions marked the beginning of European colonialism in the Philippines. While the first was a religious event, it was also a political one, as it served to establish Spanish sovereignty over the island and legitimize Spanish claims to the territory. The Spanish was conversion of the local of Christianity as a means of civilizing the taming and indigenous peoples who were seen as background and uncivilized. The introduction of Christianity to the Philippines was not without conflict and resistance. The Spanish and Portuguese colonizers often employed violent means to impose their religion and culture on the locals, resulting in several uprisings and rebellions throughout Philippine history. The arrival of Christianity also had a profound impact on the local culture and traditions, as many indigenous beliefs and practices were suppressed or eradicated. In summary, the first Mass in the Philippines took place in the complex of European exploration, colonization, religious evangelization, and impact on Philippine history and culture is still felt to this day. Christmas in the Philippines was a significant event in the Philippine history and several contributions and relevance, including establishment of Christianity in the Philippines. The first Mass marked the beginning of Christianity in the Philippines and paved a way for the spread of the throughout an archipelago. Today in the Philippines is one of the largest predominantly Christian countries in Asia, with Catholicism being the dominant religion. Cultural exchange. The first Mass was an occasion for the exchange of cultures between the Europeans and the indigenous peoples. It allows the locals to learn European religions, customs, and beliefs, while the Europeans were exposed to the local cultures and traditions. The cultural exchange was a foundation for development of Filipino culture and identity. Political significance. The first Mass was not only the religious event but also the political significance. It serves to legitimize Spanish claims to the territory and establish Spanish sovereignty over the islands. The Spanish saw the conversion of the locals of Christianity as a means of civilizing and taming the indigenous peoples who were seen as background and uncivilized. Commemoration. The first was commemorated every year on March 31 as the national holiday known as Araw ng Kagitingan and Legazpi Day, in honor of Spanish conquistador who led the first successful Spanish expedition to the Philippines in 1565. The first commemoration served as a reminder of the country's rich history and the important cultural religion diversity. Historical legacy. The first Mass in the Philippines was a significant event that shaped Philippines' history and culture. It introduced Christianity to the Philippines and paved the way for Spanish colonization, which has profound impact on Philippine history and society. The legacy of the first Mass be felt today in the country's culture, religion, and politics. Thank you for listening.